Perfect.
Okay, so now we're recording. That's a good thing. So anyway, like I said, I'm Dale Mayo. I'm glad to be your host tonight. I'll just give you a little bit of background about myself. I was a corporate man, worked in the corporate world for the last 30 years. I just retired November 30th of 2017. And I wanted to work about another year. That was my plan, year and a half. And the work situation changed, guys. And when I say it changed overnight. I walked into work one day, they called me in the office and basically tried to get me to quit. And without going into a lot of details, they thought that's what would happen. And they didn't know that I would come in the next day and sign up and retire. And, through prayer is how I came to that decision. Actually, it was while my wife was praying, I felt like the Lord said it was time to go. So that's what I did. And at the time, it was very uneasy feeling, if you know what I mean. I mean, I'm only 57 years old, but I wanted to, but now that I see what was going to happen then, what I know now, it's been a very big blessing for Dale and Janie, my wife. And so we're excited about that. I'm excited now that I can do this, what I call full time. And you can fill in the blank with what full time is in Plexus. Me personally, I just now have, I went from working 80 hours a week to now I don't work. So, if you guys heard my last year, I talked about time. And, I used to hear guys that worked 40 and 50 hours a week say they didn't have time. And I used to tell them, I wish I had only worked 40 or 50 hours because I was working 80. So, don't let time be an excuse for you guys. This is something you can do on your phone. You can get this business rolling in the nooks and crannies of your life. So I won't say my whole story, but if you guys don't know that, I started this business because my wife knew I suffered from chronic joint discomfort. And she had me try the product called Ease, and that product changed my life, guys. I went from suffering chronically. Like I said, I would sit on the side of the bed every morning and psych myself up to get out of bed because it hurt so bad. And when I say that, I mean, my wife used to watch me sit there and she'd say, "You all right?" And I say, "Yeah, I'm just getting sucked up to get the first few steps." The first 5 steps, guys, were the worst 5 steps of my day. And she had me start taking the Ease 3 times a day, 2 capsules. I took it morning, evening, and night on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And when I woke up Thursday morning, my pain was gone. And how I found that out was I sat on the side of the bed and I just jumped up and took right off walking. And I normally didn't do that. I usually sat there. And I stopped myself and I yelled downstairs to my wife and I said, "Janie, what is this stuff?" And she said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, all my pain's gone." So that's how the light went off for Dale about the products. Now, I did not want to do this business. I didn't want to build it. I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But I told her, don't ever let me run out of that Ease because that stuff's, whatever it is working. So, and I won't tell my whole story, but, you hear the thing about functions, guys, that you'll hear your upline say you need to go to this function or you need to get on this Zoom call or you need to go to convention. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, you need to go to convention in Orlando in June because it will change your business. It will change you. And so that's what happened to me. 8 months later, I'm still not wanting to do the business. I go to a Super Saturday, and I'm sitting there with my wife as a supportive wife. I thought I would go and hide. Anybody ever do that? So I'm sitting there, and Emily Roberts was 9 months pregnant. She was due any time. It was St. Louis, Missouri. And she pointed right at me and said, "I sat right there last year all by myself." And I nudged my wife with my elbow and I said, "Did you tell her I'm all by myself?" She said no. And she was standing on stage, guys, 12 months later as a sapphire. And it was like somebody reached in here in my chest and turned the switch on, guys, because I have not been the same since that day. And it means a lot to me because, I had lost my dream. I had lost my why. I was just going through life whole hum. Okay, so that's just a little bit about me. And when you hear your upline say you need to go to these functions, guys, that's why, because you never know when that's going to happen. And if that hasn't happened to you yet and you're struggling with this business and you're just going through the motion, believe me, I know, I've been there. We know the products are great. You know, I'm sure every one of us could tell our story about the products, but you need to get to these functions, guys. Super Saturday was awesome. I mean, I don't know where you guys are at, but we were in Columbus, Ohio, and it was absolutely amazing. So anyway, without further ado, you know, we got 2 of the 10. There's only 10 men diamonds, guys. And this, one of the reasons I have a passion for the men in this business is because the business is so wide open for men. Okay. There's only 10 diamonds in Plexus. There's 160 women diamonds, or I believe it's 160 total and 10 of them are women. Maybe it's close. I know there's 10 and it's 160. So, but think of that, guys. Think of how wide open this business is for us as a man. Okay. And you'll never hear me say, you know, I'm disadvantaged because I'm a man. You'll never hear me say that. We are an ambassador just like the women are. They just choose to talk about it a little bit more than we do. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Erik Paul if he'll unmute himself. Erik, if you could just tell your story a little bit, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Dale. I sure enjoyed listening to that. And buddy, we know you have the belief. You know, I was blown away. For those of you who weren't at convention this past year, that was the first time I met Dale Mayo and heard him speak in front of an entire convention full of Plexus people that he hadn't even known yet, without notes. So right there, you know, that showed me what kind of man he was. I shook his hand and he about crushed me. I heard Alec Clark say later that he shook hands with Dale and felt like a 7-year-old shaking hands with his teacher or something. But you know, Dale's a good guy, and that's the thing that I really love about Plexus is there are a lot of good guys. You know, for those of you that aren't familiar with network marketing, aren't familiar with Plexus, maybe this whole thing's brand new to you. Maybe you just heard about Plexus and somebody talked you into getting on this call. But I'll tell you what. Yes, the upper ranks and many of the other ranks are dominated by women, but they are mostly women and men working together as a team and as a couple. And the men that are with the company are men's men. All right, these are great guys that you will love to be friends with. Really good, solid people with great business minds, and a lot of fun to hang out with. So, with that being said, my name is Erik Paul. I'm a diamond ambassador with Plexus. My wife is also a diamond. I think we were the 7th diamond couple with Plexus. So when we got started with Plexus, it's been about 4 years now since my wife initially signed up, and then she signed me up underneath her a little less than a year after we started the business. So I grew up in Florida. I joined the military when I was 17 in the Air Force. While I was in the Air Force, I was in finance. I know that's not super glorious, but it was a good job to be in so that I could go to college. So I went to college. I got several degrees. I got a bachelor's in business administration and finance. Finished about half of my MBA, and then I quit because I just couldn't take any more college. But you know, while I was in, I learned a lot of good life lessons, learned a lot of discipline. It was a really good time. My wife and I had been friends in high school. We met back up in the military and ended up getting married, and we had 7 kids. So we've got 7 children. Our oldest is 14. She's about to start driving. And after the military, I started a small business. It was an off-road shop. We built big trucks and had a retail store. I sold that, and then I started selling cars. So when my wife and I, we moved from Alaska to the island of Kauai. Okay. So I'm not sure if you guys have ever been to Kauai. A lot of people have been to Hawaii, mostly Oahu, Maui, Big Island. Maui's a sweet spot. We ended up on Kauai, and I sold cars over there for about 5 years. So Kauai has about 60,000 people. Okay. It's pretty rural. Not really a lot of network marketing stuff going on, maybe some pots and pans and makeup. When we first started with Plexus, it was because a friend of ours in Alaska introduced my wife to the products, right? She'd had her 7th baby and she needed some help And so she started taking them, and then she talked me into trying Plexus. So I was super hesitant, guys. Okay. We were the kind of people that avoided network marketing people at church, right? We didn't want your makeup or your pots and pans or your weight loss plan or any of your stuff. We figured that we weren't those people, right? Like my wife was a stay-at-home mom. She homeschooled the kids, made me dinner every night. She still does for the most part. And I'd always worked for a living, right? That's how I grew up. That's what I was taught. You know, you go to school, you get a job, you work for somebody else for a long time, then you retire, maybe do a couple little side things. You know, I guess I'd never really embraced network marketing. I'd never thought outside the box and thought that, you know, I could be one of those people that you see pictures of, right? Or that you hear about. But I'll tell you what, I am super excited about this company, not just because, you know, I'm a Diamond Ambassador, but because of the opportunity for all of you and everybody upcoming. You know, over the next 3 years, Plexus is poised to have its highest level of growth. Okay. We are growing with leaps and bounds. We have got just a solid team over there at corporate. We've got some awesome bang up products. We've got a great system in place to help you grow your business. So our business is rocking. I enjoy getting on these Zoom meetings and talking to you guys. My wife and I do a lot of these together with our team. And, you know, it's great to hear life-changing stories, okay? And that's why Dale's encouraging you to go to convention and go to Super Saturdays and just kind of engage with this business, because really anybody can do it, guys. But I'll tell you what, it is work, okay? One thing I won't mince words on is that, you know, this isn't something where somebody's going to hand you a golden ticket and you're just going to be a diamond one day. You know, I realized early on when I finally wrapped my head around the fact that this could be a legitimate business for Amy and I finally figured out that, wow, there really are people that have been successful with this. How can I do it? Just like when I was a car salesman. Do we have anybody in here that's in like a commission-based job? I guess I can't look at 200 different people on all these pages, but people that have been in a commission-based position. So, you know, I remember when I was selling cars, right? It was 100% commission. Like if I didn't sell a car, I did not get a paycheck. And I remember people would ask me, you know, like, Erik, you know, how are you so good at this? How do you make so much money every month? How are you the guy getting the bonus checks at the meetings? And I'd say, well, it's because I'm the guy standing out there in the cold waiting for a customer. I'm not like playing some helicopter game on my cell phone, right? Or taking a 2-hour lunch. I'm the dude like that sold cars in Alaska, and I was huddled up in a Patagonia parka and bunny boots and a hat. And I was out there in the stinking blizzard grabbing customers and dragging them through the door. Like I was working for my bread, buddy. And I tell people like, look, you probably work really hard at your job right now, right? Kelly Little, do you work hard at your job? Yeah, we work hard, right? We're men. We want to bring home the bacon. You know, we want to please our wives. We want to go out there and we want to be men, and we want to work hard. Well, if you can apply that level of work ethic and that level of drive to your Plexus business, I promise you, there is nowhere you can go but up. It's a very good business to be in if you're a driven, motivated person. And, you know, one of my favorite things, aside from the products, is the time freedom that the Plexus opportunity provides, right? So that was a huge goal for me. So I was always working my entire life. I'd work 50, 60 hours a week, sometimes more. I'd go in on my off days. I was always missing, you know, birthdays. I'd be late to anniversaries, and I'm still late to everything, right? But, you know, now work's not an excuse. But, you know, one of my favorite things, and Dale, can you raise your hand when it's 20 minutes? Because I don't want to go past.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So, you know, time freedom is a big thing. And, you know, a lot of us, we get tied up at work, we get in the daily grind. And I mean, if you're just sitting there at your job and you're looking around wondering if there's anything better, I mean, you just can't figure out what you could possibly do to get out of that daily grind. At least that's where I was at. So what I'm saying is, once I figured out how the Plexus comp plan worked, why Plexus was the best company to be with, why it was the best choice, you know, it just clicked in my head. I'd been taking the products. They cleared up all kinds of issues for me. I had gut issues, buddy. I was lactose intolerant since the time I was a little kid. I had athlete's foot. My hands cracked. I had like an extra 5 pounds to lose. And I mean, just whatever, not a big deal there. But, you know, the products work. They cleared up all kinds of health issues. And when that happened, I was like, wow, this is legitimate. right? Like I started to learn more about gut health and inflammation and how the products helped your body. For Dale, you heard him talk about the Ease products. The Ease products sold Dale on the business, right? He knew the products worked. And so I would tell you, if you're a brand new ambassador, buddy, there are so many incredible health testimonies, health testimonies out there, just countless. Even on this page, out of these 200 people that are on this Zoom right now, everybody has got a phenomenal, fantastic health testimony that is legitimate. So what we tell everybody is when we sign people up for Plexus, we're like, look, the products work. You're going to love the products. We go over how they work and what they're going to do for them and what they should buy with their welcome pack and everything. But we say, look, don't wait to start sharing. Me, I was like, look, I'm a car salesman, right? I mean, you can't really brag about that and have people trust you right off the bat. But I would never sell something that I didn't believe in, right? Like I sold Toyota and Lexus because I thought they were awesome vehicles and they didn't break. I sold Fords because I thought Ford made the best Ford trucks. But I didn't want to promote something that I didn't thoroughly believe in. So when we finally decided to jump into this and do the business, it took us about 7 months, guys, before we finally wrapped our head around this as a business opportunity. But there was no way that anybody could convince me that Plexus was not the best company on the planet for gut health, overall health and wellness, inflammation, weight loss. Like, you could not convince me that their products didn't work because I had a great health testimony. So we tell people, look, if you've just signed up, you don't have to wait. Don't wait until you have a phenomenal health testimony. Just trust me. Use mine. Use Dale's. Use Carney. Talk about Jerit Abart. That's what I did, guys. I didn't immediately spit out, hey, look, this is what Plexus did for me. I've been on the products forever and they're awesome and yada, yada, yada. I said, listen, like I just read this incredible health testimony about a type 2 diabetic that got off their meds. Hey, I just read an awesome health testimony and it had a picture of this woman sitting on a hospital bed and she no longer has to go to the hospital to get on anxiety meds. And, I would kind of help people piece together how gut health is so vital to your body's proper functioning. And I would just start telling people why Plexus is the real deal. So I hope I haven't gone over 20 minutes still.
No, you're good. I would like to ask real quick, we are at our max on this call, guys. So if you're a woman, I'd like to ask you if you could step out for just a few minutes and if there's any men wanting to get on, they can do that. And, in 5 or 10 minutes, you could come back and, if there's some spots, because I've been getting some messages about some guys that can't get on. So if you could do that, I'd appreciate it. I know some of the women want to listen as well, but we got a lot of men that want to listen to it as well. So, Erik, did you want to say anything about belief?
Yes. So, like I said, your belief can be unshakable in this company. Mine is unshakable. So, we've been with the company about 4 years now, my wife and I. We work together as a team, and you can really gain belief by not only using the products and having good results, but also by just the caliber of people that are in the company. You have to believe in what you're selling. You have to believe in what you're telling people. And, for me, it used to be the product that I was selling, whether it was a Ford or a Lexus or a Toyota. I had unshakable belief that those products were the best products. I know everybody at the top of in corporate and Plexus. I've met the president, the CEO. I've spent a lot of time with our upper level leaders. And I can tell you that we have the highest caliber people in this industry. We have the best products that work. I've heard 1,000+ testimonies from people on my team and other teams that, kind of mirror each other. I mean, there's no way that my belief could be shaken in the efficacy of our products and the way that they work. So I would say just like anything else, guys, I mean, as a man, our credibility is really important, right? Would you all agree with me? Credibility is a huge deal to men. We're kind of prideful sometimes, right? We don't want to be seen as untrustworthy. But what I really like about Plexus specifically is that I can share it with friends. I can share it with people that I respect, people that look up to me, that are looking for guidance on things. And I can do it with a straight face, with a clear conscience, and 100% be convinced that, the products are going to help them and they're going to be happy with what they get. So belief is a huge deal. If you don't have that belief right now, if you don't believe in yourself, you should. What really helped me early on, I guess one of my obstacles to sharing initially is I felt like, I didn't know enough about the products. I felt like I'm not a health coach. I'm not a doctor. Like, why should anybody listen to me when I tell them about Plexus, right? Like, who am I? I'm just some car salesman. Les Brown has some great books and some great talks about belief. He always starts out his speeches with a line, something along the lines of, in you dwells greatness. You're a great person. He's got like that Les Brown drawl, and he's just a great man. But I'll tell you what, as soon as you hear him speak, you've got belief. You're like, wow, I am a great person. I am awesome. People do like me. Like, they're going to listen to everything I say because I'm awesome. Like, that's what I get when I listen to him. So what I would say is, regarding belief, if you don't have belief and you want to start sharing Plexus, use mine, use Jerit's, use Dale's, use our stories, and talk about those stories from people who have had just stellar experiences with Plexus. And then you'll gain belief as you start using the products and as you start becoming more involved in the company. And then if you feel like you need to experience more personal growth as an individual, that's a huge deal, guys. I'm sure Jerit's going to say a lot about this, but read some great books. Dale really likes John Maxwell books, right? The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. What does that say right on the front of the book, Dale? It says, I wrote it down.
I got it.
Follow these laws and people will follow you.
That's right.
Right?
Yes.
Eric Worre, GoPro, that's another good one. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. But personal growth is huge. And with personal growth, you'll gain confidence and you'll gain belief.
Thank you very much, Erik.
Yes, sir.
It's always good to hear other men's perspective. When I started this business with my wife, or actually she started and then I came aboard later, I didn't have any problems with belief in the products. And like he was saying there, belief is in the products. Belief has to start somewhere. With me, it started with the products. And after that, I believed in the business. Now that I've met Alec and Tarl, if you guys don't believe in our leadership, I would recommend you go somewhere, the traveling opportunity events that go around the states, go to one of them meetings and introduce yourself to them, because you'll find out what kind of leadership we have. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Jerit Abart. He's another one of the first 10. What number were you, Jerit?
I don't know.
Okay, that's all right. But anyway, Jerit's going to tell his story and then tell us a little bit about vision.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on, Dale. Following Erik, I took some good notes there, Erik, and so it's always fun to follow you, buddy, and to hang out with you. So, over the next, let me first tell you what this isn't going to be. This isn't going to be some like great speech like a Tony Robbins or like a Zig Ziglar thing. If anything, it'll be a testimony to you and to your significant other that you can, be successful in this business too. So let me go to the beginning. Like, who am I? How did I get kind of into this thing, and what kind of makes me tick? I was born in a small town in Nebraska. Some of you guys got on earlier and were talking about how cold it was up north, and I had thicker blood when I was born, but now I get cold when it's 72. So born in a small town, family ranch, middle of 5 kids. One thing that my parents always kind of instilled in us was like hard work and being adventuresome and trying new things. They always really pushed us to try new things when it came to career or building something or just really following our passion. College wasn't really emphasized that much growing up, but I always figured it would be something I would do. My dad always had a job working for somebody else, but he always kind of kindled that entrepreneur spirit in me. So at the age of, I think it was 9, I started my first multi-$100 business cutting grass around the neighborhood. would push my mower around. I thought I was big bucks by, I'd make $25 from cutting somebody's grass and go knock on somebody's door. And I just loved that. I loved making my own money and just having that for myself. Being the middle of five, you get the hand-me-downs from the older brother, or how it kind of worked in the house. And then for my younger brothers, who I loved, they were just great guys, but I was always like, y'all, you need to get a job and work and stuff. And over time, they all worked for me, cutting my little yard business. So the huge business grew from 1 yard to probably 5 or 6 yards. And then all the way through high school, I grew that yard cutting business. And I think at one time I had 50 yards and employed maybe 4 or 5 other guys as I had trailers around town cutting grass and stuff. So it really kindled that spirit. So at the age of 18, I was kind of a mediocre student. I was always daydreaming, and as long as I passed, I was happy. And but in high school, I kind of I developed this idea that I wanted to go into movie making and making videos. So I was like, that'll be cool. And so I went to a school down in Houston, Texas, and I went there for less than a year. And it was for film and video production. And as I was pursuing that, I note, because I was also paying for college, like I got straight A's. So from going to like mediocre grades to me paying for my own school, as I was getting straight A's, and I was like, if I'm going to spend money in this, like I want to be really good, and I want to make sure I make a good living on this. And so being competitive in wanting to like really go for this big time, I remember asking one of these guys that we went essentially on a field trip to a production company's house, their studio. And the guy's like, man, the only way you're going to get hired is if you go get experience. And so it really clicked in me. I was like, kind of my entrepreneur spirit in me. And I was like, you know what, that makes sense. Like, they wanted to know if me getting a job right out of college I'd still start at the bottom no matter how much schooling I had. So I dropped out of school. My parents didn't give me a hard grief with that, because as soon as I moved back to Memphis, is where my parents lived at that time, I started cold calling the guys in the industry around there that were like doing professional stuff, like national commercials for like AutoZone was a headquarters there, and like FedEx is a big. And I called these guys up and I said, look, I will do anything. Like I'll bring you coffee. Let me just hang out on set. And some guys would hang up the phone, but one of the guys gave me a chance. And so I guess I was 18, 19. I'll fast forward quickly to get into my Plexus, is that because of that kindred hardworking spirit, at the age of 21, I won my first Emmy Award. I've gone on to win multiple more. I was the youngest NBA director. I was directing the NBA when I was 21. So career was blowing up, doing a lot of phenomenal stuff, and just loving my career. Got married at 23, had our first child at 25, and I had a great job working for a company, and I had kind of lost, as great as that job was, I didn't fit in those parameters of only having like 2 weeks vacation a year. And I always felt like I was kind of hitting the ceiling of how much money I could make. Each year they would say, well, in 3 years, we'll know when you're going to be getting a raise. But it always just bothered me, because I could work my tail off to help make that company more money. And it was a phenomenal company, but I didn't like that as hard as I worked, the results I couldn't get back into my pocket right away. And that 2 weeks a year is, that's generous, I guess, but I'm an explorer at heart. I wanted to go see the world. I wanted to go do things. I wanted to take time off with my wife and kids and do stuff. Anyway, I left that job, and having 2 young kids and my wife, I saved up enough money to go start my own business. So I had to save up quite a bit of money to go buy my first camera equipment and all that. This is thousands and thousands of dollars, right? And so for about 8 years, I ran a company and did amazing things with it. It grew large, and I had the opportunity of traveling all over the world. But I ran into the problem that I faced years earlier, is that I was working for myself, which I thought was great. But then now the downside of that, I felt like I was never home, or I didn't have the freedom to decide when I would be home. I remember now I have 4 kids, and we got the kids into like soccer and football and baseball, and a coach would say, hey, can you like help assistant coach? And I just remember being like, no, I can't, because it was often enough that I would get a phone call, like maybe on a Thursday, and I would need to be on, you know, in LA or someplace else in the country, like the following day. And there were times where I'd actually get phone calls in the following week. I needed to be outside the country for something. And so I remember feeling like, wow, you know, I can't be there for my kids. And so then all of a sudden it started clicking in my mind at this age of 33, 34. I'm like, oh, what do I do? I've picked the wrong career. Like, working for myself is really cool, but like, not really. Like, I have all the struggles of being on the clock all the time, trying to make ends meet. Like, this isn't going to work. So I seriously considered taking a job offer, and the job offer would require me to move. And it was a nice job offer, but really then it would put me back into that world of 2 weeks a year. Here's a progression of where you get raises and things like that. And it just felt so limiting to me. I don't know if any of you guys can kind of relate to this. Really at a desperate time in my life, a friend of mine had told me about this network marketing thing, and so I was all ears. I didn't have any negative ideas about network marketing. I was really just hungry for this state in my life to be like, hey, if I could make extra money, which would mean I could count on not having to take every job or to say no to. It really gave me the freedom to say no. You guys understand what I'm saying? Is I had the ability now to say, no, I'm not going to take that job because I can provide enough income through this other thing to work. So right off the get-go, Jeff and his wife, Lori, told me about it, and I signed up right away. I remember my wife teases me now, but it's a saying that I said. I remember she going, it was $34.95 to sign up. And maybe the week before we'd gone to Chili's, the restaurant, and for whatever reason, we had it was a really bad meal. And normally I like Chili's, but we had the worst meal. And I told my wife, I was like, it's only $34.95 to sign up. Like, how bad could it be? It'd be the price of a bad meal at Chili's. And so I signed up, and because I really, as soon as I heard the understanding of something that was residual income based for me, which means you can make money when I'm not actively physically putting in the effort to do something. So, digging a ditch or editing a video or being on location, I would get paid per my actual time input. And so residual income based, I wanted something that was internet based. I was not in the mood or had the desire to go get out a bank loan. In the world at that time, video production, like there's cameras that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and all the supportive stuff, like to really progress that would mean business loan and a lot of debt. And then you start chiseling that out over time. And then at the very best of your years, you could only make so much money. So internet-based business, no loan. And then really it was the scalability of it. It was something that I didn't want to ship stuff out of my car or to have to hold on to anything. And so I just wanted somebody else to handle that. So as soon as I understood all that sort of stuff, and then I was just on board right from the beginning. So like Erik, I don't think of my business as like mine. I think of it like my wife and I as a team, and then all my amazing downline. Like, I wouldn't be here without teaming up with and joining arms with our amazing downline. I have a great, amazing upline, but I'm always focused at things like, hey, how can I help my people and raise them up below me? And so I have that like downward approach. And then I look up when I'm complaining or if I have issues that I need fixed on, but like I'm really grabbing arms and running with people. And that's what's been so exciting for me and my wife. So from the very beginning, we have worked this business together. I think I signed up Kristen. She might have been my third or fourth person I signed up. At that time, we didn't know any better. So this was about 4 years ago. I signed up my wife because immediately my brain's thinking, double do that. And now I would actually suggest against that. And that's a whole nother conversation sometime if you want the strategy on that. But So from the very beginning, we've built our company as one company. And what's really awesome about that is, as I understand and have learned and read more about businesses, I appreciate that, is that she offers so much more to the business that I could never offer. And I'm able to offer a ton of things and the way I view the world and how I can relate to people that really makes us a really cohesive, awesome team as we continue to grow and build and have momentum and really setting our goals and visions for the future. So I guess that was 4 years. Dale asked me what number I was for diamond, double diamond, oops, sorry about that. I don't know. I have to say, my brain doesn't think like that. Like I stay so focused and I think of goals and I achieve those goals. So I kind of have my face down and I know what it takes to achieve those things by just putting in the work. And I'm not discounting that that's important. It's just, I just have never thought like that. So for 4 years and some change, I guess I do remember a number. I think I went diamond in a shorter period of time, and then my wife followed. And we've just been working that ever since. And the greatest joy wasn't necessarily me going diamond or my wife. It's really seeing our awesome team go diamond and all of these awesome couples, husband and wife couples that are in our downline that they've just joined arms with each other and have done it the same way. So the big thing that I kind of want to leave you guys today is with this. You're probably asking yourself this question: is this possible? Is this really real? Is this something I can really do? And I want to leave you with hope that it is something you can do. If you find yourself stuck in a job or a career or some sort of point in your life where you're like, man, I'm putting in a ton of hours and I just feel like I'm never gonna get out of this muck. I read Dale Carnegie, which Erik led to earlier, wrote the book How to Win Friends and Influence People back in 1937. In the foreword of his book was a study done by the University of Chicago and the YMCA, and they said that the number one thing that people were concerned about back in 1937 was health. And I just did, before our meeting, I did a quick Google search here. I'm going to pop this up. 20 things that people are worried about. Number one is getting old. Number two is money, worried about savings and financial future. Number three was low energy levels. Number four was feeling diet. Number five is financial debt, credit cards. Six is job security. The point that I wanted to make specifically with that is that Plexus, we're a company that sells health and wellness products with a vision of, hey, how you can get those products paid for and then offer an income to pay for those products and also for you to grow a business. And these are things that I'm not trying to sell you guys. I like iPhones. I'm not trying to sell you iPhones that cost a lot of money. I'm not trying to sell you some product that you think is really cool, like a lawnmower, but you only need to buy one of those every 6, 7, 8 years. This is a product that gets used on a regular basis and that it's making, it's in a category that separates itself from anywhere else in the industry by it being, having probiotics and very amazing ingredients that make it separate from anything else. It's special. You can only buy it through this network. And then the other amazing thing is the business opportunity with it. So it's as simple as going, hey, I really like these products. How can I figure out a way where I can at least get my products covered? And that's so simple to do by just sharing that with some other folks, all the way to taking it and really putting in the time and the work to turn it into a professional or a full-time career. I don't feel like I'm a professional with it. I just feel like my wife and I take that same approach as I did cutting grass years ago. Is I knew that I needed to knock on doors and to just put the time in to make it successful. Me being successful in my film and video career, I knew that I needed to be excellent at it and put the time in. And so the thing that I want to leave you with before we go on to the next thing with Dale is that this industry, I think people confuse opportunity with ease, like how easy it is. If I was I think people confuse those because they're like, well, if it's really easy, then anybody can do it. Well, anybody can do this business. It's not that it's easy. It's just because the cost of entry is so low. You don't have to go spend $100,000 or more building out some building or buying a Chick-fil-A franchise or doing something like that, or buying a bunch of construction equipment to run a business of things that you know. It was really, the opportunity is there to grow an amazing business with your family and to really pour in and help other people, which has been really the most exciting thing for me is as I've gotten to meet and know people that we've essentially recruited, that they've seen success in their health. And then, the side effect of feeling really good is that they're then saying, hey, I'm going to put the time in here and make this a really good business too. So I want to leave you guys with that hope, why I think this is an awesome opportunity right now. Erik said that earlier. My wife and I, 4 years, and we're not slowing down. Like, we're working just as hard as we did 4 years ago. The thing that's changed for us now is really the choice of freedom. So at the time, as I was ramping up, I was still working my other company, my other business full time. And you know how, I'm going to be realistic to you, as you're building, you just start to substitute, right? And it's completely realistic. And I haven't worked that other business for years. And now all the video work that I do primarily is because I do it for fun and I enjoy it, or a ton of ministry, pro bono, giving back to ministries and non-for-profits, and really being a blessing to them in that area that, frankly, film and video production is quite expensive, but it's just something I really enjoy doing. So I keep that artistic thing in me kind of going. So Dale, I'll throw it back to you and you can ask me any questions.
Okay. Thanks, Jerit. Appreciate that. This is another thing I like about this business. I'd met Erik before this, but I had not met Jerit. And Jerit, when I reached out to him and asked him, he called me one day and just wanted to chat, just to get to know each other. And I thought that was cool. So thanks for that, Jerit. What I'm going to do now is real quick. I heard or saw on Facebook, Jerit, how many books you'd read last year. I'd like you to tell the guys how many books you read last year.
Well, my goal this year is 40 books. How many books I read last year? I didn't make a list of that, but it was over 25 or 30 books. A lot of those audio books. You guys are catching me on the end of the day. I'm one of those weird early riser, like 4:30 types. And so normally I'm ready to go shut eye about now, but, yeah, I get rolling in the morning. That's when all the cylinders are firing at full, and it's also quiet in the house because all the kids and the wifey still sleeping, so I can get something else done.
Very good. Very good. We all need to read, guys, because that's, even in the corporate world, they suggested that you read to become a better leader. So in this business, when they tell you that you need to read to develop yourself, it's no different than what the business world does. And this is a business, so we all have to get better. So I'm going to ask each of these guys a couple of questions now and let you get their perspective of this. And then I'm a numbers guy, so I like numbers. So you new people on this call, this business is growing. The latest figure is 21,000% a year. And I haven't seen that in writing. I would never say that in an opportunity meeting, but I saw it from Celeste, I believe it was. And we know it's grown 16,000% plus. So just think of that for a minute. How would you like to be a part of a business that's growing 16,000% a year? That's pretty phenomenal. So first question, I'll let Erik go first here. Erik, what was your biggest obstacle building this business?
Man, I think the biggest obstacle for me was really, what I'm supposed to talk about tonight, which is belief, right? Like I didn't immediately have the belief when we started the products. I believe that the products worked. I believe that, my results were incredible, but I guess I just didn't know what to say to people. I didn't think that when somebody came up and said, well, what is Plexus? I didn't think that I would know how to give a response that was good enough to, get them to sign up and want to join my team. So I guess, it really took some personal growth for me. I remember one of the turning points for me where I felt super confident sharing about the products was my wife and I would have these opportunity meetings on Kauai, and she would give me homework, right? She'd say, okay, Erik, so tonight you're going to talk about the X factor. So go figure out why X factor is the best, and tomorrow night it's going to be Probio 5 and BioCleanse. So I was like, all right, babe, I'll present on this. I was just happy that I got to get up and speak and look like I was a part of it. Right. So I would go do all this research. And while I was researching it, I'd look at, X factor, for example. I'd think, wow, man, this is incredible. The aloe vera blend that they use in this X factor increases your body's absorption rate. And, the methylfolate helps people that, can't absorb B vitamins correctly, absorb B vitamins. And I kind of learned all this stuff about why our products are so great, how BioCleanse works and the importance of magnesium and all this stuff. And I would just get excited. It's like, wow, this is why I feel better. And so, that really encouraged me. But yeah, I think my biggest obstacle was just knowing what to say, having that 30-second elevator speech ready when people asked me what it was.
Okay. How about you, Jerit? What was your biggest obstacle?
I think just getting over myself with it. To achieve anything, you have to dream big. And then the difference between a dream and a goal is you set parameters on that when you're going to achieve that, and you just kind of breaking that down. I didn't have issues with belief with the company or if the products really worked at first, because I was reading like testimonials right from the beginning. And so I believed everybody else. So I didn't feel like my wife or I felt like we needed to have somebody else's testimonial, like our own personal one, to grow. Because I like Dale would post something or somebody else, and I would just go, hey, did you see these results? And I would share that with people. My wife was pregnant with our fourth child. And so at that time, and so she was taking the products, but not like religiously all the time. And so my biggest challenge was just quit overthinking it and like being real simple and just approach it and work the business. And working the business meant putting the time in to do income producing type activities, which means actually physically reaching out to a person, asking for a CTA, which is a call to action, refining how I give that kind of message to them, and then following up with them. And that's code words for some certain stuff. But for me, surfing on Facebook, that doesn't make me any money. For me, it's really refining, hey, picking up things along the way, like, hey, here's a great way to message someone. And really, my wife and I working together was the key to all of that. I never felt comfortable just like messaging a woman, but there were multiple times that I would see a need, and because I had a relationship with that lady through business-wise or something else, I'd say, hey, and I would group message her and my wife together and continue that conversation. And then I would chime in and add stuff when it was where my strengths were more in the area of like the business or why I believe it's such an awesome opportunity at that time. And you said you're a numbers guy. One thing that I would highly recommend to anyone, here's a great book to read. Read the Big Al book, 4 Color Personality Type. I never understood this about myself, but he essentially breaks the population into 4 color personality types. Believe it or not, there's 75% of North America that doesn't see the same things or the same way that you see things. And once I understood that, it really clicked for me greatly. So Dale, you mentioned numbers are important to you. Like I like numbers on a level of giving credibility, but what's more important to me is if you can make money with it, and then like what the opportunity with that is. And then the other part of me is like, how much is it fun? And is it something that I'd like to do? There's things that I could do that I know would make money, but if it's no fun, I don't have any interest in that. And so I think it's important, and what I'd like to leave each of you guys tonight would be, you may be speaking to another man about something that's super important to you, about the legitimacy of all of the ingredients of Probio 5 and all of that. And the guy or the gal's going to be like, all I really care about is making some money so I can help ministries out. Like, can I make money helping ministries out? Or can I like, that sounds really cool, but do you guys like take fun trips? Or here's another one, like a red personality type would be like, you know what? I don't really care about a Lexus. I'd be like, well, then buy the coolest lawnmower that you ever wanted. That was never, now that I like have made money, I didn't want some of the things. So I took my cash and I bought like a really sweet lawnmower. Or I've taken like really fun trips with my children that I would have never been able to do. Chartering a private jet to fly my son and I up to a airfield thing, to going fishing trips, to surprising my daughter on a surprise birthday trip to Disney World. Like, that's the sort of stuff that's fun for me. And so I think it's the thing I'd like to leave you guys is read that book, and then you'll start to listen to ways when you're asking questions, sharing opportunity with them and sharing product, they'll give you hints of what's important to them. So you don't talk about what's important to you, you listen to what's important to them, and then you share in each of those avenues. And so that'd be a really big tip that's helped me quite immensely. And it's really helped my wife too. Once we read that book, we were like, oh, quit talking about what's important to me. Let me hear what's important to you. And then I'll speak into how Plexus, from the product standpoint or opportunity standpoint, or any of the amazing facets of that, of what's best for you. So.
Very good. Like that. Just because I'm a numbers guy, I got to ask one numbers question. So I'm going to ask us, how many level ones have you personally sponsored? And I'm going to answer it myself, because as a gold, I wanted the guys to see the difference. And so I'm a gold ambassador, getting ready to go senior gold, real close. And I've sponsored 31 level ones personally. So Erik, how many have you personally sponsored?
So Dale, my wife and I have been with the company about 4 years. On under my leg, we've got about 110, 120 level ones. Out of those people that I have personally sponsored, folks that I've met and that I've signed up, I'd say somewhere around 30 to 32 folks that only I was involved in, because, like Jerit and Kristen, Amy and I usually work as a team.
Sure.
If it's a woman that I'm talking to, like Jerit, we like to, I don't want to be a creeper. So if I'm talking to a woman about Plexus, somewhere in there, I'm going to say, hey, if you're on social media, I'm not on Facebook or Instagram, but my wife is. And, you seem like an awesome person. Can I hook you guys up? Maybe she can tell you a little more about the company. Here, let me friend you real quick on her account. So I hooked them up, but I probably sponsored about 30 to 32 of those level ones just personally. The rest were kind of a joint effort.
Okay. Jerit?
Yeah, before I answer that question too, Erik said something I thought was great for you guys out there that currently aren't married or single, and you're going, well, okay, how do they do this? Well, my recommendation would be then look to recruit somebody in your level one that is a woman, potentially. That's just like somebody that then, if you're partnering in this endeavor, because that's how I view this business is really, it's the way to scale the business is not through only all of my individual efforts. It's by recruiting and signing up people and then showing them the visioning and helping them sign up multiple people. So for me to have, answer your question, between my wife and I, we have, it's over 100 level ones, but again, I'm sorry, I don't know that number specifically, but I know that in my downline, I have thousands and thousands of people, because I really want my level ones, I want to help them recruit 3 people, and I want my level 2s to help recruit 3 people. And so my wife and I work really closely with our first 3 levels, and it's all about duplication. And so we try to go wide, but also really deep and wide and healthy. And so that's a real emphasis that I like to have, is when our purpose in recruiting is to fit them into the right lane. Are they better a customer? Well, then they need to be a customer. However, if they've indicated to me that they're interested in running the business from a perspective of simply, hey, I'd like to get my products paid for, you're like, okay, well, then you'll fit right into this wholesale ambassador, sign up. And if you get a couple customers, you get your products paid for, all the way to a person being like, you know what, my goal is to make $500 a month, which is quite doable. You can see the income disclosure thing that they share all the time. And so that's how I think of that. And I'm not saying your way's bad, Dale, or anybody else's. It's just how I think about it. So I'm more focused on how many 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s that I have versus my level 1s. And so it's really, I want healthy all there sort of stuff. So that'd be my motivation for you guys.
Okay, very good. I like that. I like the duplication. That's what it's all about. Last question is, you both have kind of touched on it. And my wife and I's scenario, she saw the business first. And, you know, if you heard me in convention, you know, I've looked at 30 different network marketing businesses, guys, comp plans. I haven't looked at the business, but after I had a little success in network marketing, people would bring me the numbers because I'm a numbers guy, and I would compare it to what I was doing. And I can tell you, nobody has a comp plan like Plexus. After convention, you know, I had this guy send me this video, and this is the next best thing. And they can't hold a stick to our comp plan. Okay. So because of that, you know, my reluctance to do this business wasn't because of the business. It's because I hadn't even seen the comp plan. I had lost my dream, and I didn't want to have anything to do with network marketing at first. So in our scenario, my wife saw the business first. So Erik, between you and your Amy, she saw it first and then you?
Yeah, when we saw the business, it was actually when we were hanging out with Jerit for the first time. We lived over on Kauai. We had some mutual friends, and you know, we had just signed up for Plexus. We'd been signed up, right? We were wholesale ambassadors, just getting our products for free. Well, I mean, because we had a couple customers too, but so we weren't really doing anything with the business. I was like, I make a great living selling cars. I'm not a network marketing guy, but
let me interject. I love this story because I remember vividly meeting you for the very first time. We were sitting around in Kauai. I had gone on my first trip with my wife over to Emerald Extravaganza thing, whatever Plexus does.
Trip for you?
Huh?
That was your first Emerald trip?
I think so. I'm the worst, guys. So, but I flew over because I wanted to check out the other islands. So I came over and I met you and your wife. And I remember your wife going, okay, I hear you're a diamond or whatever. Is this for real? And I remember you kind of like poking around and stuff, but like tell them the story. Cause I remember being like, guys, this is legit. So
yeah, it was great because, you know, we had some mutual friends. Our friends that signed us up were there. From Alaska, we had some friends, the Martins, Brenda and Delvin were there. And so, you know, I'd really never looked at the comp plan. I think I'd seen the pay chart once or twice, and I kind of knew, like, you know, the average income for diamonds is this, the average for emeralds is right about here. But I was like, maybe there's like 1 or 2 people at the top of the company making this. But, you know, here we are hanging out down at Lidgate Beach at the pavilion having a barbecue. And, you know, Jerit's there, the Martins are there. And I'm like, guys, all right, level with me. Okay, Jerit, you're a diamond. Okay. How much are you really making? And he told me, and I was like, wow, that kind of lines up with the pay chart. And same thing. We had an emerald there and a sapphire there. And Jerit basically told us, he's like, guys, look, you know, you love the products, you know, you seem like you're pretty relatable people. It's like, you'd be stupid not to do this. All right. You need to do this. So, thanks for the kick in the pants there, Jerit.
I want to share a bunch of fun stories that we've had over the years, but
we've had some good ones.
Yeah, we got some good ones. What was your question, Dale?
I know you said you saw the business first, but you guys work it together.
Oh, yep, absolutely. Saw it first. That doesn't make me that wise. I don't know. It's just, yes, I signed up. So I heard it. I was hungry for opportunity. So I saw opportunity. Man, I would sign up in a heartbeat right now today and jump on it today. It's the, you know, just there's so much, you know, I'm on the advisory board with the company. I work with there's just, right now is a really good time. There's a lot of things coming and it's just really awesome time. And so the opportunity is just as good today as it was when I signed up 4 years ago.
Very good. And I would say this, guys, and I'm talking from a corporate world perspective, like Jerit was talking about earlier. I did not like it that I could work my tail off for the company that I worked for, and then come merit race time, they told me I already made too much money. Well, because you're already making too much money, Dale, we're only going to give you a 2% raise. Okay. It didn't matter how hard I worked. It was like, year in, year out, I felt like that ceiling was always there. But in this business, guys, if we put in the work, just like Jerit and Erik told us tonight, we can become diamonds. We can go to this. Everyone on this call, guys, can go to Maui this year. I don't care where you're at right now, rank wise. I, for one, and signed up. I'm going. I'm sure. I don't. Whatever it is, I got to do. And Jerit and Erik, I'm sure have people that they work with. But our upline diamond came to us and said, "Okay, I'm going to help you guys. I'm going to work with you personally until you guys go to Maui." Where else, guys, can somebody making $400,000 a year take you under their wing and say, "Come on, let's go do this"? So my encouragement to you guys tonight, and is like it always is, do your IPAs every day, whatever that is for you. If you can always contact 2 people a day, do 2 every day. Be consistent with it. Okay, and income producing activities. Posting on Facebook is not an income producing activity, because I know a lot of guys are frustrated because they say, "Well, I post every day and nothing's happening." Well, how many people have you reached out to? How many people have you followed up with? How many Zoom calls like this have you got on? Did you go to Super Saturday? Did you go to convention? Okay, because it can be very frustrating, but it's also great rewarding. So Erik, Jerit, I want to thank you guys. This has been awesome tonight. Just a little over 10 o'clock. So I'm going to wrap it up and say, I love doing these calls, guys. I'll probably get another one together sometime early March. So keep a lookout for that. And we love you guys, and we will see you all at the top.
If you guys are looking for any more information, I have started doing a small podcast about business stuff. It's called Who, What, Where. It's a private group on Facebook. I'm going to have Erik as a guest on soon. But if you guys are looking for a way to kind of connect and hear some stuff like that, and then the Man Cave, I'm talking amongst some of the other leaders in that group, who're wanting to pour into that group as well a little bit more and stuff like that. So it's been a real pleasure talking to you. We ran out of time, but man, I wanted to talk with Erik about all the fun stuff.
I wanted to hear about your lawnmower, man.
Lawnmowers and trips and bus travels around the country. Like,
stuck in Jerit's yard in my bus.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. We'll have to do that another time. Like, that was pretty good. This, by the way, was his brand new bus that he just got and got stuck in the front yard. To missions work. Like, guys, I don't know if your faith's important to you, but like, we have been able to make an enormous dent in the world around us through missions. I love helping out this. I'm on a board of directors for an adoption thing where we've been able to help get hundreds of kids adopted and stuff like that. And I would have never had that time or that opportunity before because I would have been so focused on just feeding the beast and putting that time in and stuff like that. So whatever drives, like, get your why. I just want to leave that with you to ponder on and talk with your wives or significant others, or really you just kind of defining like your reason why you'd want to do anything like this is get your why established. Your why can be, I just want to make a lot of money. Okay, that's a good why. Your why could be like, I want to have fun and I want to go travel and I want to go do things and I want to like change the legacy that I leave behind. That's a good reason. Another one would be, you know what? I want to be the father that I've always wanted to be, but I could never be because I've always had to say no because I've been stressed about money or just really the time. My job now is to make sure that I bring the kids to school every day and pick them up every day. And I don't miss that. I'm there for every birthday party, and I'm still a guy. It's hard for me to like commit to every sort of thing, but it's just, I can now make that a priority. And before, I was always serving the master, the beast before. And so, and Erik, I'm speaking for you, but man, he can attest to all of these awesome things that we love bragging on each other, because I always tell stories about Erik when I meet other guys. I'm like, oh, this guy had a bus and traveled around the country. And it just seems so fun and cool to me. This guy did this. He now, I'll call him up and I'll ask him stories about his tractor. Like, lives in Florida, is remodeling a house and drives a tractor. Like that like that sounds fun to me.
It's a country music song.
Yeah. So just
it's been good knowing you, Jerit, for sure, man. And about the whole lawnmower thing, I'm glad you got a new one, guys. When I first met Jerit, or if we first went to his house that first time, right after I got the bus out of his ditch. Remember your old lawnmower? Was that Jeff's lawnmower?
Yeah. It was
he let me mow his lawn, and this thing had a flat tire, and it only ran on like 2 cylinders. And it's a good time, guys. But,
well, people ask me all the time. They're like, "Why do you cut your grass?" I'm like, "Because I like cutting my grass and I love it." Like, and so
I'm freedom, baby.
I do have the Lamborghini of lawnmowers, though. I mean, I got a sweet lawnmower. I'm not going to deny it. It's a Walker 0 turn, like bagging. It's like a top of the line, industrial commercial grade. The guy that I bought it from is like, "What are you using this for?" I'm like, "To cut my grass." He's like, "Okay, that's cool, man." So,
hey, you know what's great is this is a man call, and Amy's sitting here listening to this and just going nuts. Like she has no idea why lawnmowers are relevant, but she doesn't understand this is a bunch of men. We care about this stuff, right? We can talk about knife throwing and tractors.
I want to show you guys a picture of like before I never had enough money to like buy like decent tools. I got like a full DeWalt garage now of like sweet tools and stuff like that.
I remember going in your garage and I was tripping over batteries. I was like, man, who has this many DeWalt batteries? This is like heaven.
Well, the best thing about the batteries is that I can just give my son and I'm like, hey, go blow the yard off now or go do this.
Yeah,
like,
little blowers. Things are great.
You're catching a little bit about what drives us, but it's the experiences, and it doesn't have to be about just a Lexus or this. It's like,
no, it's time freedom. It's time with your family. And it's a whole new life, and any of you guys can do this. We're not done.
Appreciate it, guys. Hey, if you would do me a favor, you two, if you guys got any man jewels that you'd like to have on a call like this, let me know who they are, and I'll reach out to them and set a time up with them. I'd like to get as many as I can of these in. So again, we want to thank you, Jerit and Erik, for your time and effort. We appreciate all you guys do. I got the utmost respect for you guys. So thanks, and we will see you all at convention.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. Really good seeing your faces, and I didn't see anybody running around in their underwear, so that was good.
See y'all. You guys have a great night.
Guys.
All right, bye.